This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Everyone, thanks for joining today's session. So I hope my voice is clear, and you can give me you can ping in the chat if you're facing any audio issue. Okay. If there is no query, I would like to keep in your audio in mute, so that we'll come to know if you have doubt. We can discuss. Otherwise, we can continue on today's demo. Yeah. Thank you so much. So first of all, thank you for dedicating your time to go to this demo session, the Azure DevOps. And let me introduce myself. My name is Yuvi, and I am in this IT field for more than 17 years, who has knowledge in both cloud, infrastructure automation, and development like Java, .NET related developments. So those activities also I do contribute. And coming back to my cloud experience, I'm a certified cloud architect of AWS, Azure, and GCP. And I do have work experience in delivering multiple cloud-related aspects in terms of migrations, transformations, and all. And I do contribute on the automation in terms of infrastructure, that is on-premises related aspect also I do contribute. And I have work experience in terms of cloud and non-cloud related DevOps, starting from without cloud also we do deliver DevOps, so I do contribute there. And the SRE aspect also I have work experience. So that's my overall introduction. So with no delay, let me share my screen to go through the course content. Today's demo is more likely to be on the course content, like what we are going to learn as part of this particular course. Like when you undergo this training, what and all you can learn. So that's what the one we are going to discuss. So let me share my screen to discuss about the overall course content, who and all can attend, what and all they can gain at the end of the course, what they can learn. So those are the things we are going to discuss today. I know we get students from different background. Some students might be from IT background. Some students might be like recently passed out from college, who are new to this, and they are yet to understand about this IT culture and what is this in software related aspects and all. There are someone who would be already in IT workplaces, like might be from testing, might be from development, or from support background. So different set of students I used to get in every batch. Some students will say that you remember, like, I'm from the testing background, and I want to switch myself to a DevOps. And sometimes they will say that I want to be in testing side, but nowadays everybody is asking in the JD and all, like as a tester you should know DevOps related aspect also. That is my automation, the test scripts and all, I should run using this DevOps, the CI/CD. That is the expectation in my organization. Some developers also used to say the same thing. I'm a developer, but the requirement in my current organization is I should adopt myself to DevOps. And sometimes the support persons, like who already in operations activities, who do these things via manual options, like the infra maintenance or any upgrades and all, they do say that like we have to
Hey,
adopt
hi.
ourselves.
Sorry for the interruption.
Mhm.
Your voice is actually breaking. Is it only for me or anyone else?
uh, Thank you for letting me, Abdul. Can anyone please confirm, is it for everyone?
No, it's clear for me, actually.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
clear.
Yeah, thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you, Naveen. Abdul, if you don't mind, could you please check your connectivity?
Yeah, I think, let me see. Connectivity looks fine, but I'm not sure. Anyway, let's see. Mhm.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So I like to highlight one thing here. This demo is recorded. Like I've already started the recording. If in case, like if you face any challenge of hearing me lively, and if you get any other calls in middle or any other activity to do in middle, don't worry. We will share this recorded version in the group chat in the WhatsApp group, so you can go to the recording and you will get a clarity about like what we actually discussed. Yeah, going back to our discussions, like the students wise I was discussing, right, like who and all usually attend our class. So this course curriculum we created by keeping all set of attendees students, I would say. So irrespective of your background, you might be from a IT background, you might be from a cloud background, you might be from a development background who has some coding knowledge and all, you might be from a testing background who is a manual tester. So it's not like you should have some prerequisite to go through this course, because we have set this course curriculum in such a way that if you're not from the cloud background, if you're not from the development background, still you can attend this course and you can upskill yourself in the DevOps area. So we are covering from the scratch. That's why we always say that from the beginners to the expert level, we are doing this training. We have covered, like we have gone through like all this JDs in the job portals for a DevOps resource. What are the requirement they are asking? So we put together and we have created the course curriculum in such a way that like you can attend those job requirements, like you can attend those interviews. And not only that, you can undergo the certifications like AZ900 and AZ400, because nowadays in most of the organization they started requesting their employees to acquire a certificate like in the cloud world. Like it can be Azure, like again in the Azure there are a lot of pillars are there. So we have created our course content by keeping the certification also in the consideration. So that's the reason, like what AZ, yes, AZ104 also we can do. So the thing is, if you are like the course I have managed in such a way that like 40 hours of regular classes would be there, like during your weekdays, Monday to Friday, daily 1 hour we'll be doing it. Apart from that, we do have the lab activities also. Like at the end of every session, I'll be sharing you the lab related activities. So if you are uh, doing those labs regularly, like if you have the hands-on experience, yes, we can do those certificates also. So the main consideration here is like 40 hours live training and 20 hours of app. And I'll be telling you like how you can register for your free Azure account. So if you never ever used Azure account previously, yes, we can get a 30 days trial option from Azure. So I'll be guiding you the steps like how you can register for that. So once we get the account, the Azure account, like we will start working on the lab activities also. And any queries related to this, like we will be like clarifying then and there. I will just give the background about this course, like the content and all. Prior to that, I'll give you the overview about our class format. I said like 1 hour of daily course, right? So in that, like 50 minutes or 45 minutes, I would say that we will be doing our discussion. And it's not going to be just a PPT or Word document presentation. Just first few days, it will be like a few documentation I'll be sharing, because I'm starting from the scratch, right? So some uh, terminologies we should be comfortable with. So those and all alone would be some PPTs I'll be showing. And whenever there is a certificate related aspect I'm sharing, that places I'll be sharing the screen, the PPTs, and show some questions related to that and all. Apart from that, our entire course would be done by sharing the portals, that is Azure portal, and Azure DevOps portals. So these two portals we will be widely using. And when I cover the Jenkins topics, when I cover this Ansibles and all, the relevant site I'll be logging in, the GitHub sites and all I'll be logging in. I'll be guiding you also how you can get your account created and all. So throughout the courses, we will be doing in the real-time tools. It's not like PPT presentation, it's not just a Word document sharing and all. So we will be seeing the real-time tools and we'll be working on it. So that will happen in the first 45 minutes. The last 15 minutes is dedicated for the Q&A session. Why we meant like that is, there are some students in a previous batch who requested this because they felt that because of their Q&A, their regular discussions are all diluted. So what they requested is, UV why can't we keep the questions at the end, so that if I done with my 45 minutes, if I don't have any question, I will drop from the session. The last 15 minutes, like whoever has out, they will stay back and they will continue. Why? Because most of my students are from working background, and they have daily morning calls, calls and all. So they have requested this. But if there is any change needed in this batch, we will take that and we will discuss going forward. And coming back to the course content, as I mentioned, we have designed this course content by keeping two things in mind. First thing is your job offer. Second thing is your certification. So both aspects we have considered and we brought in this point here. So very firstly, we will have some basic discussions about like what is DevOps, because I don't want to jump onto the concept of in DevOps means you have to create a CI pipeline, CD pipeline, and you have to use this repo. No, that is not going to work out. Like first, we should understand what is DevOps, because as I told, some students might be from a non-cloud background. Some students may not know what is DevOps at all. So we will be discussing about the DevOps. What is the cycle? The DevOps cycle. What's the difference between our regular waterfall and agile methodologies and all? So those and all we'll be discussing. And if it is DevOps, means it deals with a lot of tools. So different aspect we will be doing, like a developer will be using for version controls activities, their commits and all. A tester will be using for their CD, CI pipelines and all, automation activities, configuration management. So many terminologies we'll be using. So I'll be highlighting the tools which are famous in the market, which we widely use in the market, which is widely asked in the JDs. So the job description. So those tools and all we'll be discussing, like what are the tools used for what. And then we will be jumping into the cloud concept. Again, when I say cloud concept, I'm not going to cover only the Azure, because first few sessions I'll be covering the cloud terminologies. What is this cloud concept? Why we need cloud? What is the advantage of using the cloud? What is infrastructure as a service? What is PaaS? What is SaaS? These and all I'll be covering, which is a common terminology for all the cloud. Like if you're using the AWS, if you're using GCP, the same concept apply there also. Not only this, like whatever I am covering in the basics of cloud concept, it is widely used in the other cloud providers also. So you can use this knowledge if in case in future you get a chance to work in other clouds, not only Azure. There also you can use this concept, because I'm going to explain the concept which is common for all three famous cloud providers in the market. It's not only going to stick only to Azure. In the first few sessions, it is a general concept about cloud. So that we'll be doing. And over the course also, whenever I cover a topic in Azure, I'll be touching upon the equivalent name in AWS also, because I've seen some students who joined Azure, but in their team, they use AWS also. They want to compare things. So I have the practice of giving the names. Say, for example, if I'm explaining something about DNet in Azure, means I will say that the equivalent terminology or the equal concept in AWS is EPC. So those comparisons on are also I'll be giving, so that though you register for Azure, you will be learning the other famous things in the market too. So that's why we have designed. So once the cloud concept discussions are done, then we will enter into the actual cloud. Like I'll be guiding you on setting up your Azure account, the free account. If in again I'm giving this disclaimer, that is, if you never used before this free trial option, we can sign up for the free trial 30 days, you can use it. If in case if you already used it, then we have to go for a paid version. But again, I take the course content, or I guide you in such a way that you will be spending less. Like, I will be sharing the tips and tricks also, because I am playing the role of the solution architect, right? So we contribute on the cost optimization also. So whenever I take a topic, I'll be showing a demo. Like, each and every topic will be covering with a demo from Azure aspect. So when I show the demo, I'll be showing the option that if you select this option, you'll be charged more. If you select this option, you will be charged economically. So those discussion also will happen, so that if in case you register for your own account, like if you're using your credit card and you're registering, means you will be end up in paying less if you follow my tips and tricks. So those things also I want to highlight now. If you didn't use it before, then we are good. Like, you will have the free trial option, you can use it for 30 days. So this course will be covered in that time duration. And next, I'll be covering on the your computing concept, virtual machine. What is virtual machine? What are the different options we have? And what is auto scaling, because that is the main ask in most of the interview questions. And even in real time we are using much. So why you need auto scaling, what to scale up, what to scale down, what is horizontal scaling, what is a vertical scaling. So those things and all we'll be discussing. And storage aspect we will study in and out, because not only DevOps, if you are working as a data engineer, if you are contributing on the data aspect also, the storage is a main pillar. So I'll be covering the complete information about the storage, Azure storage, in terms of like what are the different options are there, different type of data you can save, how you can access. If you're a developer, how you can access. If you're an operation person, how you will access. So those things and all I'll be discussing along with the security, because storage is a one important pillar which whenever you go, okay, you not only this uh, DevOps related certifications, like when you go for the data related certification or other pillars also, you will see the storage as an important topic there. So that's the reason I do a deep dive in storage, so that it will be helpful there. And repositories, so this is used by both testers and developers, because if you're a tester, you have to commit your code. That is your automation script. You have to keep it in a common place. So I'll be covering both Git repository and also Azure repository, because uh, as I'm going through the DevOps concept, it is not going to be a purely Azure repos you will be using in your organization. You will use a Git repo also. So I'll be guiding you on like how you can create your Git account, and how you can push your automation scripts, how you can push your like keep your codes and all in a centralized place, how you can access it, what are the Git commands you will be using, what is branching, how you can merge your code, how you can manage your conflict. So those things and all we'll be discussing in the repos. And how you can make sure your code quality, because in Git also there are a lot of options for your security and maintaining your code qualities and all. So those again we'll be discussing in the repos. So repo in the sense I'm saying again, like I'll be covering Azure repo and also the Git repository options. Why I'm covering this is, at the end we will be creating one CI/CD pipeline. So when we are doing this CI/CD pipeline, it's not that all organizations are strictly using Azure repo. Some organization who are comfortable with Git, some organization who are comfortable with other repository option, they want to continue using that. So while following that pattern, it will be easy if you know the commonly used repository. Okay, so that's the reason I have covered both the things. Next thing is tools. So CI/CD tools. So though this course says like it's Azure DevOps. As I told you, like we are concentrating on the JDs in the market. So though you apply for Azure DevOps role, they will ask you some questions related to Jenkins, because that is the first step for any DevOps related activities, right? So I'm covering the Jenkins too. So you will be learning how you can create your pipeline, what is upstream, what is downstream. So if you are a tester, you have to run your automation script after the build complete. So how you can create the pipeline, so how you can track your artifacts, like in terms of your test case executions and all. So those patterns and all we are covering in the Jenkins. And configuration management. So again, this is the one which is one of the main ask for a DevOps persons. Like though we are working on the CI/CD pipeline and all, there are cases like you have to work on some infrastructure configuration management. So Ansible is the one which is widely used in the market, and we can see in a lot of JDs. So if you are going to apply as a core DevOps person, like it's not like a testing background, like you are going to apply as a core DevOps person, then this is one of the must-have skill set. So you should be aware of Ansible. So we are covering that configuration management. With demo, we'll be covering the Ansibles, the playbooks, the inventory, how you can log into one machine and make changes in multiple machines, how you can pass your instructions, these things and all as a demo I'll be showing you. So this is one of the important skill set of DevOps, core DevOps person. So we are covering that. And next, important and foremost, the upcoming topics like containers and Dockers. So this is the yes, Naveen, I'll be covering both Jenkins and Azure DevOps pipeline. So next thing would be the containers and Dockers. Like this is again, if you going to brand yourself as a DevOps person, then they will say that do you know the Docker concept? Do you know the containers? Do you know the Kubernetes? So all these things we have added here. So I'll be telling like what is container, what is the difference between these, like containerization and virtualization, because most of the times we are using virtual machines, right? Why we are not just using that? Why we are stepping into container concepts? So those and all we'll be doing a deep dive. And Dockers, in the sense, again, cloud, you can use some Docker concept. Apart from that, even in your own laptop, you can run a Docker hub, and it's a like you can have your own app running in your laptop, and you can bring up like your Docker images and you can run it. So those things and all we are going to demonstrate, and you will be doing a lab also related to that. So I'll be guiding you on how to set up your Docker hub, like how you can configure in your laptop, and how you can download the images, how you can run those images, the container concepts. So those and all we'll be doing in this. So there are some questions, like I'll cover this, then I'll come to these questions also. I'm seeing that there are some questions, like you can keep your questions typed, and I will be answering. So Docker images we'll be discussing, and we are into the Kubernetes. Nowadays, most of the organization adopted to Kubernetes, but still you should have the understanding. So theoretically, we'll be discussing about the Docker swarms, and then the orchestration tools like the Kubernetes come into picture. So in Azure, what we have, like you have your pods, your services. So we will do a deep dive on the architecture of the Kubernetes, because when you go for an interview as a core DevOps person, they will ask you questions about this Kubernetes, about the services and how, which is controlling what, how these instructions are all passed and all. Theoretical questions only they will ask you, but you should be in a position to answer those theoretical questions. So I'll be explaining you the architecture of the Kubernetes, how this communication happen, and what is the role of each and every block in the Kubernetes. Those and all we will be discussing. Azure Kubernetes, yes, we will be checking in the like demonstrations about the Azure Kubernetes also. So generally, what is Kubernetes? I'll be telling. Then I'll be guiding you on the Azure Kubernetes. So because the entire course is, though we say Azure DevOps, like apart from the concept covered in the Azure DevOps, when you go for an interview, they will ask you the core DevOps questions too. That is, in on-premises also you can do some DevOps activity. So you should be in a position to answer both the questions. It's not like if you go for an interview, though they mark it as a Azure DevOps role, it's not guaranteed that they will ask you question from Azure DevOps. They will ask you the core DevOps concept too. So we are covering both the aspects of what is Kubernetes, that is in general, whether you are using in Azure, whether you are using in AWS, the common concept going to be same, right? So those common core concept I'll be discussing. If in case you get a chance to work in AWS also, there won't be any difference. You can easily work in AWS because I will be covering the concept in such a way that you can apply the concept in other clouds too. So what is Kubernetes we'll discuss. Then we will discuss about the Azure Kubernetes and how you can manage the Kubernetes and all we'll be discussing. Next thing is, this topic might be an optional topic for a testing background DevOps person. Like if you're a tester, if and you are planning to adopt to DevOps activities, then this would be an optional because you won't be doing much of this activity. But it's a good to know skill. Like when you go apply for the JD, like this particular thing, they will add it in the. There are like multiple options would be there in JD, right? Like must have skill, good to know skill. So if you are from testing, then this would be a good to know skill. But if you are going to apply as a DevOps person, then this is a must have skill, that is infrastructure as a code. So what is infrastructure as a code? What are the different tools or options available in the market? So those we will be discussing. Azure in turn has a lot of options, like you will have your ARM option, and using shell script also you can do the IAC option using the inbuilt shell concepts that Azure activities you can do. So that also we'll be discussing. But the Terraform, which is common, I would say, it is not only for Azure. If you're going to work in other cloud providers also, Terraform is the core concept. So if you learn in this, like I'll be guiding you on creating your Terraform scripts and how to run it, what the different options are there in terms of security, what the best practices you have to follow, because these are the questions you can expect in your interview. So I'll be covering that. And in real time, because all these topics so far I covered, right? Like I'm not going to share you only the theoretical concept because I myself part of a lot of delivery activity, right? So what are the challenge I faced, how we came across like those issues, what are the solutions we have applied, what are the options we have to follow. So those things and also I'll be sharing. So in this IAC also I'll be sharing the tips and tricks which you have to follow. Again, I'm saying, though it is like a coding you feel, but you don't need to be from a development background, because I'm going to share you the tips and tricks. That is, even if you are a manual tester, you can do this. So I'm going to tell you what are the options available, what and all you can follow to brand yourself as a Terraform person. So that's how my session is going to be. And we will be creating resources in Azure using this Terraform and monitoring. So if you're a DevOps person, like you should contributing on the monitoring. So we'll be discussing about the different aspects, like what are different options you can use for your performance monitoring, your resource utilizations and all. So the health checks, how you can create alerts, how you can send mail to a distro if something happens. So those and all we'll be discussing, how you can send a message to the app, what configurations you can do. So those and all we'll be discussing under this monitoring. And next, foremost important thing, DevSecOps. So previously, when you go and attend for an interview, they'll ask only the DevOps, right? Now a new role came, that is DevSecOps, that is DevOps along with the security. So personally, if you ask me, I won't keep it as a separate topic. Everybody should follow the security in cloud. Whether you are a tester, developer, or operation person, you need to follow the security aspect, but because your data should be secure, your application should be secure, your website should be secured. So you should follow some best practices and all. So I'm going to share you about this DevOps practice and what are the different options provided by Azure to maintain this security. It can be your Azure policies, it can be your Key Vault option, your security groups. So those things and all we'll be discussing about this in this topic. Next would be like, so far whatever I discussed, right, most of the topics will be logging into the Azure portal, but we do have a separate port called Azure DevOps portal. So the upcoming topics are more related to the Azure DevOps portal. So where you will be learning about the boards. So if you're in the IT background, if you're contributing any of the three roles I told, right, tester, developer, and ops, for sure you will be using one tracking website. Like it can be Jira or it can be any of the ticketing mechanism. So relevant to Jira, Azure itself has something called boards. So Azure boards. So we'll be doing a deep dive on this because this particular thing will be used by anybody. Like you can be a manager person also, non-technical person also, a PMO also, but you will be using this Azure boards. So for a person from PMO background and all, this will be widely used. Like what are the different options you have it in boards, and how you can track your planning, your requirements, your defects, your development. So all these things, how you can track what are the different options or capabilities available in Azure boards, which will make your work easy. So those we'll be doing because this will be widely used. Like if you are from a developer or a tester background, like if in case like you want to raise a defect, like if you're creating some bugs and all, how you can track it, or if you're running one CI/CD pipeline, how you can automatically create a bug, because that is also one of the ask, right? Like it's not only you will be as a DevOps activity from testing background, you will be running one CI/CD. No, that is not going to stop. You have to create the bug also if there is an issue. So how you can link the CI/CD pipeline with the Azure port. So those and all we'll be discussing. And if you want to share a report, like how many bugs you created, how many stories you work so far, like those queries and all we are going to discuss in this board section. And next, CI/CD with Azure pipeline. Yes. So far, we have learned everything in bits and pieces. Like you learned about repository, you learned about boards, right? Now you are going to use everything in this area. So you are going to create your CI/CD pipeline. That is whenever a developer. So I'm just going to tell from different perspective. For example, if you're a developer, you are committing a change, your code change. That code change should be available till production. That is, it has to first deploy into a development server. It has to do all the testing, like in terms of functional testing, performance testing, security testing. Then it has to push to the SIT environment. There also whatever testing needs to be done, that the functional and non-functional testing it will do. Then it has to push to the next environment. Finally, it has to deploy into the production environment. So that is the expectation nowadays. So how you can achieve it? So those we are going to see with a demo here. And if you are a tester, like you have created your test scripts. Nowadays, the expectation is not to run manually. The expectation is not to run with some schedule and all, right? It should run along with your developers deployment. Like whenever the code is deployed, then this testing also should happen, right? So we are going to discuss that activity. So we'll be discussing about both the options in Azure pipeline. There are two options available. That is, if you are from a developer background, if you know coding, if you know how to develop, yes, there are some options available. If you are not from the development background, but still you want to use the CI/CD options, means that options also we are discussing. So I'll be covering both the options, YAML based one and classic data. And also repository wise, if you are using Git repo, well and good. If you are using Azure repo, that also we will be discussing here about your unit tests, code coverage, integrating with multiple options, your how you can create your artifacts, and how you can deploy it in multiple environments like dev, test, and production, and how you can hold your deployment. Like that. For example, if you deployed your code in development, and if you want to push it to SIT, it's not going to be as it is, right? Some approval is needed, some validation or sign off is needed. How you can incorporate that into the CI/CD pipeline. So those and all we are going to discuss, the approvals, manual interventions, and how automatically an email will be sent to the desired sign-off person. So those and all we'll be discussing. What is blueprint deployment, how you can roll back your updates. So those also we'll be discussing here. And I'll be sharing about the best practices, the tips, the tricks, and all. Like it's not like everybody know everything, right? If in case if you don't know the coding, how you can manage. If in case if you're not from the development background, how you can manage some issues. Like if you come across the issue, how you can face it. What are the different options available? So those things and all also we'll be discussing here. And it is truly going to be a live demo session kind, like it's not going to be something which I already recorded and I'll be showing in front of you only. I'll be opening the screens and I'll be navigating, and both the things I'll be covering. That is, if you're a tester, like you will be feeling comfortable with the portals, right? That also, and also from automation script too. So automation script in the sense, Azure portal itself, there are some automation you can do. It's not that functional automation script I'm going to talk about. Like those and all, it's a separate one. Like how to write your Selenium script and all, we are not going to cover. But if you have a Selenium script with you, how you can incorporate with CI/CD pipeline, how you can track your the testing, those and all we'll be discussing here. Okay, and let me take the questions in the chat too. So yes, like GitLab separately we are not going to cover, but it's more or less equal to the one which you are going to cover. Like already the other repos I'm covering, right? The technique would be same. So we are not going to cover it as a separate one here. And but the Jenkins and this or else Azure pipeline, we will be doing a deep dive. So that we can use it as a reference for this GitLab. So concept will be more or less same. And I've covered the course content and I've mentioned about the timing, and all these sessions are all recorded, and the recorded session will be shared to you on the next day morning Indian time. And for once you are all registered, a separate WhatsApp group will be created. In that group, we will be sharing all these communications, like in terms of your notes, in terms of your recordings and all. And you will get an access, like once you're all registered and paid, like your Gmails will be collected by our team, and they will give you access to those playlists. All these 40 days of playlists will be shared for you. So I can understand that most of you are from working background. It's not possible that all 40 days you can able to attend. Here and there you may miss the sessions. So in that case, like we recommend our students to go through this video, and if in case like it will be clear, but still if you come across any challenge, no issues, like the next day you can connect like with us, like in the sessions as I told, the last 15 minutes are Q&A sessions, right? So we'll be explaining your queries. If in case you can't even understand, even after like fully you can't understand, means that parking lot will be using for explaining the session again to you. So we'll be explaining that session like whichever you are not feeling comfortable with. And lab activities wise, like first 10 days I won't be sharing you, I would say, like first few days, because first few days we'll be discussing on the basics, the understanding and all, right? The terminologies, what is cloud, what is DevOps and all. So once we are getting to the actual concept, that is the Azure cloud concept, that time only we'll be starting our labs. So at the end of each and every sessions, like I'll be sharing you the labs, and I'll be giving you the list of lab activities you have to do. And again, it will be the one relevant to the topic which I covered in my demo. Like all the sessions would be a demo, I said, right? So the topic in the lab will be relevant to the topic I covered in the demo. So by considering the certification in mind, I used to create all this lab activities and all. So if you can do the lab activity, well and good. If you are not able to do, if you come across any challenge, usually we use a group chat, like you can paste your queries there and we will discuss. Even after discussing, if you're not able to complete the lab, no issues, like I'll be completing that lab activity in our Q&A parking lot. Like that time I'll be sharing my screen, I'll be demonstrating this is a problem statement and this is how you have to do. So that is how it is going to be there. Like slowly we will trigger it. Like initial few days it will be like a beginner level only, because I had to know about the background of you. If you're not at all from cloud background, not at all from the coding background, obviously we have to take step by step, right? So all these initial labs would be simple. So once you're feeling comfortable, once you settle down, then we will take it into intermediate and advanced levels of activities. So that is how we drive it. And yes, I think I've covered. And for registration, you can connect with the team. You can ping if you're interested. You can ping it in the team, and they will connect with you. And for any further process or any queries we have in terms of the codes and payments and other things, you can connect with Kumar sir, and he can guide you about the rest of the process. If you're already a student of Isha, then obviously you know our regular process. If you're new also, no issues, like you can ping your queries in the group and we will be guiding you on the activities, like what and all we'll be doing. So after this demo over, like we will be creating a separate dedicated group for the registered students. In that group only any further communication will happen, like sharing your demos for the playlist, and sharing the course content, or the any relevant document sharing. Everything will be added in those things only. Okay, so with this I'm ending my